Hey, how's it going everybody? This is Tim from Team Black Hole. So, if you've been following my local experience vlogs, you know that I started messing around with different builds of Orcust. So today, I want to give you an update, or more a deck profile of what the current list looks like. We're gonna go through main deck, extra deck and side deck. I'm gonna explain you my choices, and we'll see how many more cards we need to complete this deck, because I'm still running some proxies, mostly in the side deck. Alright, let's get into it. So first off, we have 3 yugioh, the Orcust Mech Knight. This card is your bread and butter. This card is full combo if you open it. It's really good. It plays around Ash Blossom. It plays around a lot of things, because you normal summon this, you use the on summon effect, your opponent ashes you, you can use the second effect to make 2 tokens, and then you, with the token, you can go into a Link 1, then go into a Galatea, and if you opened Crescendo, you can just set it and you have your negation. So it's really good because it kind of, Ash doesn't ruin this card. The worst enemy of these cards are Veiler and Impermanence. Those ones hurt the most. But yeah, this is just an insanely good card. And please no comments about the mismatching rarities. I am going to get another secret soon. This is just what I pulled from my case of Megatins. So, the next couple of cards, we have 2 Orcust Nightmare. This is most of the time what you want to dump on your starting play. Like, you dump this and it's basically full combo, and you can even recycle with recycle it with Galatea, or you recycle the wand that you send usually off of Nightmare. I am playing 2 because I have some cards that it's gonna make sense basically in a little while why I chose these ratios. Also, this card boosts the attack of the monster it targets when it sends to the graveyard. So it's really important that you don't forget it, because in testing I've misplayed countless times, crashing into opponent's monsters thinking I'm going to kill them, but in reality we just crashed because like they had the same attack or something, and I just misplayed a lot. So, the next 2 cards, we have 2 Symbol Skeletons. So, for this card, it's not too bad if you open it, but I'll explain later why. But this card is usually what you send on turn 3 off of Nightmare, off of yugioh, because you can search yugioh in this deck as well. Like, it's a good extender, it helps you OTK, and it's not bad to draw all the time. You'll see why. And of course, we need to complete this setup with 1 World Wand. World Wand is really the worst card in this deck in terms of monsters. You need it, it's really crucial for the combo. But, I don't know. It's not the end of the world if you see it, but you don't want to see it, because if you see this and yugioh, your combo is gonna be kind of whack. It's gonna be really bad. And that's why we only play 1. Next we have 2 power 2-offs. We have 1 Dark Grepher and 1 Armageddon Knight. So Armageddon Knight is self-explanatory. He's basically a yugioh, but a bit worse, because if he gets ashed, it hurts a lot if you don't have any extenders. And Grepher is here in case if you draw him or Wand, or if you draw him or Nightmare, you can special summon him and discard, like discarding 1 special summon him, and then discard 1 to send 1 more to graveyard. Or you can just normal summon him and use his effect to as cost discard the Dark, which can be Nightmare, that's the best case scenario, or it can be Wand. So even if it gets negated, you kinda get to declog your hand a bit. 2 really good cards, like really good. Grepher especially sometimes feels even better than Armageddon Knight. So, next up we're going for spells. We're running 3 Pot of Prosperity. I haven't yet switched the proxies out for Prosperity because I'm still running them in my Tri-Brigade list. Video of that deck profile coming out soon, because it's post-ban list and we need to all see what the best version is. And of course my version is always the best version. But yeah, we're on 3 Prosperity. You basically see 6 more cards, and the extra deck is kind of tailored so that the banishes most of the time don't matter. You can usually banish the same stuff. And yeah, card is just really good. Like, it's insane. So for the next really good spell, we're on 3 Foolish Burial Goods. So what makes Foolish Burial Goods really good? You can dub Crescendo off of it. If you don't know, Crescendo can search any Dark Machine monster. It can search your yugioh, which is a starter. So we're playing 3 good. Later on you'll see we're playing 3 Crescendos, and you're playing 3 yugiohs, which means you're running 9 starters right off the bat. And if you count in Armageddon Knight, that's 10 starters, and Grapher can sometimes be a starter, but not all the time. So yeah, this is why we run Foolish Burial Goods. It's just a good starter card in a way, and sometimes it's really good Ash bait. Next up we're playing 2 Orcust Return. This is part of the reason why we're running 2 Nightmare and 2 Symbol Skeletons, because you can use this to draw yourself additional cards, and in case you draw in your starting hand Babel, or if you draw if you draw Crescendo, so you have both in your hand, you can set this off of Galatea, or you can go for another Crescendo, depending on what you're playing against, you know. So we're playing also 1 Orchestrated Babel. So Babel is here for a couple of reasons. If you open Crescendo, you can easily go for Babel, it's really good. If you open Babel, it's also really good. It's not all of the time though, because there are hands in which you would wish Babel was a different card, but mostly Babel is here because you can go, when you stop your opponent's play on turn 2, so their first turn, on turn 3, you can go for another Babel, or if you have a Crescendo still, or you can just go for another Crescendo. Like, this card is good also, it declogs your hand, so sometimes you can send it off of Foolish Goods, right? It has to sit in the graveyard though, because you can't activate it the turn it's sent to the graveyard, but it can still on the crackback allow you to declog your hand and get your plays going. We're also playing 1 Foolish Burial, you know, just a good card. It dumps your Nightmare, it dumps your Symbol Skeleton, it dumps your Wand, like, it's just good. This card is basically what you want it to be in this deck specifically. We're also playing 1 Upstart Goblin, you know, 39 card deck. This can literally be anything, and of course we're playing 1 Rota, because we want to access Armageddon Knight and Grapher consistently, well, as consistently as possible, so we're playing this for the Arma and the Grapher. Now we're getting into the rest of the deck. As you can see, there's quite a lot of cards here. We're getting into the bread and butter of the deck and why this deck is so good. We're playing 3 Solemn Strike. I haven't replaced these because I'm still running in my Tri-Brigade deck. Solemn Strike is one of the most powerful counter-trap cards in the game currently, and that's why we're playing it. It's Strike, you don't need any more explanation on this. We're playing 3 Crescendo. I already told you this, so Crescendo is good because it can search your yugioh. Crescendo is good because it outs Dragoon. When Dragoon goes for the pop effect, this card does not destroy Dragoon, it just negates him and banishes him. So that's really good. It's an Omni negate as well, so you can use it on spell, trap, and monster effects. This card is perfect. You just need to remember that you cannot search the turn you activated the negation effect of this card. And also it locks you into Dark Machines when you search, but it can also search Dark Machines. So this card also searches the Cataster, I think it's called, like the Dark Machine, the Ally of Justice one that people play against Drytron. Also, there's a fun interaction with this card, which I'll get into a bit later when we touch the side deck. We're playing Torrential Tribute. This card is really, really strong. Basically, it's an auto win against Tri-Brigade if you get to set it up. There's a really, really neat play with this card when you have the yugioh on the field, right? So most of the time, if I play against a deck that now TT hurts more than Crescendo, or I'm not afraid of like back row removal and stuff, I go for the yugioh play and set TT, which makes it so that when I flip TT, the yugioh can protect other cards on the field, other monsters, if I have any, and it can protect itself. As I said, this card is an auto win against Tri-Brigade. It's also insanely good against Drytron. So this card is amazing. We're playing 3 Compulsory Evacuation Device. This card is, I think, the worst trap that we're playing currently. I might replace this for 3 Karma Cut, which is insane, but this card is not too bad as well. Against Tri Brigade, it's really good. Sometimes it can hurt Drytron. It's not that good. In Drytron matchup, it's just you bounce the Anaconda, and that's it. Definitely the worst card in the deck. In the first card, I'll probably be replacing for, I think, Karma Cuts. I haven't decided yet. I still need to test this deck way more. Next up, we have a card that I absolutely love. We have 3 Phoenix Wind Blast. So, if you don't know, this card says, discard 1 card and target 1 card your opponent controls. Place that target on top of the deck. Alright, so you might seem, oh, that's whatever. You discard 1 card and you put it on the top. Against Tri Brigade, again, this card is insane. They commit to the normal summon, and you bounce this on the top of their deck. You know what they're gonna be drawing. There's no mystery in that. And you basically Yara Garage them, because they get no new cards. And also, the discard part is really important. That's why we're also playing the 2 Symbol and the 2 Nightmare. If we draw multiples, they're basically just free discards that gets us pluses on the preceding turns, or on the same turn if we have Babel. That's why I absolutely love this card. It makes all your big monsters less of a brick, and it can unclog your hand, basically. It's really, really good. I absolutely adore this card in this deck. Now, for the last 3 trap cards, we have 3 Ice Dragon's Prison. This card, we all know what it does. There are a couple interactions in this deck where this card is not that great. Specifically, when you use the effect of Crescendo to search, you cannot activate this card except if you target a Dark Machine in their graveyard to special summon, because Crescendo locks you into Dark Machines. And I had this interaction playing against my friend Vicky with Sky Strikers. I was under the Crescendo lock, and I was thinking, alright, I can go for machines, I can, get rid of the Shizuku, and then summon it and banish them all of the field, and it's gonna be great. And then I was reminded that I am under the Crescendo lock. So this card is really good, because most of the time you're gonna be activating Crescendo on your turn, because you're gonna be using it to negate. But it doesn't matter, right? This card is still insane. It outs Dragoon. It gets rid of resources. If they go Kid Karas, the Tri Brigade player, you can chain this, and the kid does not get to trigger. So you get rid of 2 cards. So they have to hard open Revolt to try and do something. This card is really, really nice. We're gonna be playing first, of course, 1 token. I need to get another one of these. So I have Girsu tokens. Just gonna put it here. And we're playing, obviously, the kind of the best monster in the extra deck. Gonna be playing 3 Galatea. This card is insanely nice. Like, this card cannot be destroyed by battle if it's linked. It basically enables an infinite loop in this deck, an infinite grind, because you can return 1 banished card from the banished zone to the top of the deck or to the deck, and then you can set 1 Orcust spell or trap card. And that part is not mandatory. You can if you want, but you don't have to, right? So this card basically makes your grind infinite. I absolutely love this card, and when I have money, I'm definitely investing on ultimate rares. We're playing the 1 Longirsu. Longirsu is good in specific scenarios. This deck is really good right now because a lot of other really good decks are playing Dragoon. And this deck has a ton of outs for Dragoon. Like, you have your trap cards, which can out Dragoon, so Crescendo. You have Dingirsu, which you obviously play in this deck, he can just out Dragoon. We have Longirsu, which can out Dragoon. Like, this deck has so many ways to out Dragoon, and Longirsu is just one more of them. Like, this card is absolutely cracked. This is just one more way of outing Dragoon. So this card says you can target 2 of your banished machine monsters, shuffle them into the deck, then you can send 1 linked monster your opponent controls to the graveyard. Alright? This is insane, because this card does not need to point to the monster. The monster you're sending just has to be linked. And that's really good against Dragon Link, because, Romulus, Pisty, and it's a neat interaction, but it's very, very situational, and you rarely use that. Next up, we're playing 2 Dingirsu. This card is cracked. It's huge, it gets stuff from the banished pile attached to it as material, it protects your back row. So, in a world where you can set up Crescendo, right? So let's say your Girsu got ashed, you made tokens, you made Galatea, and then you have, I don't know, 3 traps in your hand, and none of them are Crescendo. You can't get to Crescendo, you just set, like, you just summon Ding, set the back row, and then you don't have to waste your valuable cards on stupid stuff like Twins or Cosmics, because Dingirsu can just protect them. Well, not Cosmics, but Twins, Feather Dusters, that kind of stuff. Ding can just protect all of that, so that makes him really good. You just need to know when you can summon him, and also this card helps OTK like crazy because it gets out for free with Orcust Symbol Skeleton. Alright, next we have a couple power Link ones. So we have probably the best Link one in the deck, Link Kuriboh. We have Link Spider, and we have Gravity Controller. So, my thought process here is, Link Kuriboh, you can just like loop him endlessly with Girsu in a stupid grind match. I think I did that once, where I did not want to attack my opponent for some reason. I think I was just getting advantage, and I was just making tokens with Girsu and summoning Link Kuriboh back, protecting myself from being killed, and also it is dark. So that makes him probably the best Link one out of all of these. Gravity Controller is really spicy, because if you go for the Babel play, game 1, you make Dingirsu in your extra monster zone, and you link it off for Gravity Controller. And then you have a quick effect Symbol Skeleton in the graveyard to summon back Dingirsu, send something to the graveyard. You know, it's just a really good card to have, in theory. In testing, it actually came in clutch 2 times. So I'm really happy that I decided to play him. Link Spider is probably the worst Link one in the deck. I guess you have him for the token if you don't have Link Kuriboh anymore, like if he gets banished or something, you have Link Spider. He's definitely the worst also because of his typing. He's Earth, which automatically makes him worse because most of the time you're just instantly locked into Dark. But if nothing else, you can banish him off of Prosperity. We have Barricade Borg Blocker. He helps you unclock hands in certain scenarios. And yeah, he's an honorary Orcust, we could say. We have IP Masquerena. You know, Masquerena is just good if you're trying to go for some Babel plays. This could be literally anything else. I don't know if I went into IP one time, but in theory it should work really well, because you can send, like you can summon Ding off of Symbol Skeleton, send something, and then you can IP and then go into Unicorn or something. It can, theoretically, it can be really good, but I don't think in testing it came up once. Then we have a small Nightmare package. We have Nightmare, Unicorn, and Phoenix. Phoenix is just good, you know, a generic link to if you need to link off into something. Unicorn is here because he is removal, he's good, and if you make Masquerena, you can like make Unicorn on your opponent's turn and get some pluses or some value off of him. For OTKing, we're playing Boral Sword in this deck. I absolutely love Boral Sword because it can actually OTK. It's a bit trickier to make, but your turn 1 setup usually just requires a normal summon on the following turn to OTK, because you have the nightmares in the graveyard, and then you can send the symbols and the stuff, and basically you just need a normal summon, preferably Girsu, to facilitate the OTK, and as long as you don't use Crescendo Search, you can go into Boral Sword and, you know, OTK. Alright, and the last card we have is Azus Sky Thunder. You just make Ding, you know, send something, attack with Ding, overlay into Zeus. No, Zeus is the king. He just sends everything to the graveyard. Except you need to be careful because his typing is light. He's a machine though, but he is light, so you need to be careful that you don't like cheat your opponent and make Zeus when you're locked into darks. So now we're gonna go into the side deck. Side deck is very much acceptable to change. This is just what I feel is the best right now. Side deck, I'm just gonna give you a warning, is all proxies because most of the cards I'm using in my Tri-Brigade deck, and a couple of cards I actually don't have. I think there are 6 cards, so 2 playsets of something that I don't actually own. But let's get into the side. We have 3 Nibiru. There's a really sick interaction with Nibiru. You have Crescendo in your graveyard and Nibiru in your hand. You activate Nibiru, you chain the Crescendo. Crescendo gives you a search for something, and because you are locked into summoning dark machines, Nibiru cannot be summoned, and therefore he just tries to resolve as much as possible, which makes him just tribute everything, and that's it. He doesn't summon, your opponent does not get the token. It's a really old interaction that came up a lot when Nibiru was just released, and it's just super funny. Like, and it's so funny that this works like that, but it does, and I think it makes him a bit better because of that. But you have to set up the Crescendo play, so that's a thing you need to worry about. We're playing a Droll, which alongside Nibiru is in my Tri-Brigade deck. This is just here for Drytron. It's here for, I don't know, something rogue-ish. It can hurt Strikers sometimes, but for Striker we have something else. But yeah, I think it's just a really good card right now. For other hand traps, we're playing 3 Skullmeister. This is good against Tri-Brigade, this is good against some graveyard-reliant decks. I really like this card. This card, I don't know why I didn't put in, because it's just in my staples box. I don't know, I'm gonna do that right after this deck profile. This card is really good. You know, it just stops Graves Effect. It's nice, it stops Prank Kids, which is also really good. And I think this card is worth trying out in your side deck. Against Sky Striker specifically, we have Shared Ride, which is simultaneously really good against Drytron as well. Shared Ride, if you don't know, for the rest of this turn, when a card is added from the main deck or graveyard to your opponent's hand, except by drawing, you get to draw 1 card. So it's maxi. Nah, it's not. It's worse than maxi. But it's still really good because, you know, Strikers then can't afford to go like huge pluses with Engage. And Drytron, you know, they can be, you know, you draw into your powerful traps with this, you draw into your starters. Like this deck specifically has such an insane matchup against Drytrons. It's unreal, and drawing into traps is really good even going second. That's why we play this card. When we're going first, we always side this in. Always. It's too insane to pass up. For the last 3 cards, we have Trap Trick. 3 Trap Trick. These alongside Shared Rides are cards that I actually do not have. Trap Trick is here because a lot of your really good trap cards like Wing Blast, Compulse, and Torrential Tribute, and Ice Dragon's Prison are all normal trap cards, so going first, this adds just a little bit more consistency to your deck. Like, getting to these cards is super important, that's why we play Trap Trick. Another card which I don't have and I am testing is Heavy Storm Duster for annoying back row cards. This deck doesn't really have a problem playing against back row that much, but Peekaboo can mess you up really hard. So I'm testing that. I'm testing Gozen Match as well, because the Orcust can play around it really nicely, but I think it only stops Tri-Brigade in this meta and Prank Kids. That needs a bit more testing, but I'm really happy with the performance of this deck so far. Like, it's crazy. This deck is absolutely bonkers. I love it so much. And yeah, if you want to see the evolution of this deck, make sure to check out all the Yu-Gi-Oh! Local experiences that I did. Because in that deck, we're going through the evolution of this deck. We're trying to find the best cards. We're playtesting it a lot. And soon we'll also be taking it to a locals. That's gonna be in the next episode of the local experience, so stay tuned to see that. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Please let me know what you think of this deck. I think it's absolute fire, and I really want to hear your opinion, because I want to make this deck as best as possible. So if you have any recommendations for good trap cards, leave them in the comments. You know, shoot me a DM. You can also join the Discord, link in the description. Shoot me a DM there. I want to get a discussion started around this deck. Yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, share this video with everyone. Let's get the Orcust hype train back. And remember, guys, Harp is definitely coming to one next ban list. See you later.